to Unsigned518. I'm here with Matthew Klane. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thank you so much for having me, Andy.
Yeah, of course. And we just met in the driveway of, and this where it's called the Dazzle Den. If you did not know, by the way,
It's dazzling.
Yeah, because man cave sounds super sexist, and I mean, it's funny, but like super serious. Like I was like, I don't want it to be called the man cave, so we had a naming contest.
Oh.
To be like, what can we name? This is years ago.
Yeah, this is canon.
And Dazzle Den won out, and we were like, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
I see why. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of dazzle and some razzle going on in here.
Yeah. There is a lot of dazzle. It's
also not like underground or anything, so I feel like it's more of a. I mean, I don't really know what the difference between a den and a cave is, but like. But den seems right.
Yeah, it does seem right. Yeah, because we are at ground level. It's not. Although a lot of people have commented, like seeing videos that they feel like in the base, it looks like it's a basement.
Yeah, basement lighting.
Yeah, we don't even have a basement. We're on the
Oh, you're like you're like the Alamo.
Yeah, pretty much. We are pretty much the fucking Alamo, 100%. But we just met, like I said, in the parking lot, and I always say like the way this is going to go is it's an introduction to begin with. We'll just start talking, and
cool.
Wherever it goes, and then we'll play some of your music, and that's really it. It's don't look at it as an interview. Look at it as just like a conversation. And that's actually funny because that's usually what I tell people before I get rolling. But I'm like, I'm gonna put that on record that this is how it goes. It's not an interview. It's a conversation.
All future guests take note.
Yeah, all future guests take note. But anyway, so Matthew, just kind of like however you want to tell the story of your relationship with music, just kind of tell us, how you found that you could make your own music, I guess. But
yeah, it's pretty recent actually. I come from poetry, which is my training. I have a couple of grad degrees in poetry and have been writing poetry since I was a kid, and have lived a pretty full life in that world. Had a small press for a while. Have some books out, have ran multiple reading series, just have mostly devoted my life to poetry. And just 2 summers ago, I had the thought that maybe those skills could translate, that maybe my formal skills, my vocal play that I've been doing in performance, that maybe there's some songs in there, and I had that thought before, and every time it didn't pan out, it was like, maybe every 5 years or so,
right.
And it was like, nope, not yet, stay in your lane, Matthew. And then this time it just worked out.
And were you play like do you play guitar and sing? Like, did you have like a background kind of noodling with guitar that went back, as most? And it's funny because most like artists, quote unquote, like whether it's the theater kids or the poets or the actual art, like painting or whatever, like all of us kind of all dabble in guitar, whether you're a musician or not, you know what I mean? So is that the case with you?
Definitely. I had my mom play guitar, and actually the guitar I play now is hers.
Oh wow.
And that's why I pick it up every 5 years or so, just because it's around the house. But I wanted to learn. I was talking to you beforehand. I went to high school in the early 90s. Was an alternate kid, was steeped in all that alternative music and grunge music, and guitar was amazing. Like I wanted to be Kurt Cobain, I wanted to be in Pearl Jam. So I took guitar lessons. I was in a very shitty band that never played out. And I definitely couldn't play at all. I was the rhythm guitar, but had no rhythm. And then, quit because I eventually, after maybe 4 or 5 years, was like, this is not a thing.
Right.
Like this is not going places.
And it's tough too, because like, not to cut you off, but like at
fine.
that age, because we're similar in age, I'm a couple years older, but at that age, like when you're kind of coming into your own as an adult, and like you really want to be a rock star, but you just understand it's not going to happen. It is so easy to put it to the wayside because you've got so much other shit to focus on, like just as a human being at that age. You
for
know?
sure. And I also could not sing in any way, and I maybe can now, and I don't know exactly when that happened. It might just have to do with attitude.
I was just gonna say it's a lot of that is probably comfort level, like
confidence, comfort,
yeah,
in who I am, or I was a very bad stutterer when I was a kid, so I think that might have something to do with like not being able to like go full body into something. So yeah, I'd play guitar, so I could play the chords. I know how to do D, C, G. I know how to make an A minor. So and I'm kind of a minimalist by aesthetic, so kind of leaned into that in the songwriting here. It was like, oh, okay, maybe that's not so bad,
Right.
Like, I can Bob Dylan this. I can do 3-4 chords and roll.
Because it is, and I wanted to say something as you were saying, like your root, and I say I don't do my research. I did a little bit of research, so I knew there was like a poetry background, and I wrote some poetry when I was younger, certainly more than I was a musician. Like if you would have asked 21-year-old me, I would be like, I'm not a musician. I write.
Oh, amazing!
I write.
Cool.
I write things, but it was very easy to translate it to music. So as soon as you were saying that, I'm like, obviously that makes sense. If you're writing poetry, it's not just words. It's different than writing a story or a book because there has to be a rhythm to poetry. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like,
for sure,
you have to have a rhythm to poetry. And if you have that deep history of a rhythm to poetry, just take that and add those couple chords, and boom, you got fucking gold.
This is gonna sound pretentious, and I don't mean it that way at all, because there are just different schools and styles of poetry, and communities and micro communities and subcultures, and everybody's doing a bunch of different stuff. But I came from I started doing like whacked out experimental stuff where I was just like borrowing text and collaging it, and making these like architectural text structures, and came backwards into learning kind of traditional poetic structures when I had to teach, and have gained a lot of respect for classical forms and for syntactic smoothness. And so, I think that's also helped me with my songwriting. And when I was thinking like, oh, I know what I can do couplets or quatrains, and those look like songs, whereas the stuff I was doing years ago kind of didn't. But everything does have a rhythm. You're right. Like everybody's got a rhythm, like just their personal way that they express themselves, their patterns and whatnot,
their cadence.
Cadence, precisely.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the poetry angle of it, like not only from a musical way, but storytelling wise, it's gonna be richer, I think, because I'm in a punk band, like, we're not like telling these deep stories. We're not selling attitude, but we're writing songs about like how we feel about nothing specific. You know what I mean? It's just like, but when you come from a poetry background, that shit doesn't fly. You're like, no, you got to get some details in there.
Oh, so I love details, but also details can be unspecific, or like they could be so specific that they're decontextualized from their like original context, and like a detail can be so rich and generative, and then also you have like no idea what it is,
Right.
I actually use a lot of very like proper nouns in my songs because I like the specificity of them, but sometimes you don't know what or I don't even know what is it implying,
Right.
I could be, I don't know, that was vague talking about specificity.
That's good. That's good, because it does show a contrast between vagueness and specificity,
Sure.
and how you can merge them.
And I'm not into like, I don't really have a punk rock attitude in my heart, but I know that punk rock is about attitude. I was going to use the word atmosphere for like what I do, but it's attitude and atmosphere can be similar. It's a vibe or whatever.
Right.
And like the country music has that, or folk music has that,
Sure.
like a kind of atmosphere that you just sort of can like live in for a while and embody, and it just sort of like sets a tenor.
And like with some saying folk music, but like even going into like Americana or like what am I trying to say? Like Adirondack folk that tell, like, each song is a story. Like, and the story, like you listen to the song and you're like, you have act 1, act 2, like you have protagonists. And
Is Adirondack folk a genre?
yeah, is it? I don't know if it's Adirondack, but I had an artist on, and I'm blanking now because I had like 3 edibles this morning. But who was in a particular genre of folk music, and I think it was Adirondack.
It sounds great because here we are, right? And
Yeah.
Like,
and
I
it was
know.
all like stories of like the building up of this area,
Cool.
like a lot of like logging industry stories and
Nice.
forestry stuff, but it's all very storytelling driven.
Right on.
Which I think is kind of a cool way to do it, which is again the opposite of what I do. In our music is more, we have a song called Don't Care, and it's literally pretty vague, you know what I mean? And it's just like, man, I don't care about a lot of things. And, a lot of people have been like, hey, this song's about this or this song's about that. And I'm like, you're all fucking wrong.
Yeah.
But nice try.
Yeah.
Whereas storytelling stuff, it's like, no, the song's about this because it tells you. You know what I mean? Like, it's about this. Like,
Right on.
so, I don't know. I'm rambling. Anyway, I want to hear, or we want to play some songs for the people. So, what song were you gonna play for us today, Matthew?
Let's cue up "The Lord Won't Mind."
Okay, yeah, cool. Let's check out "The Lord Won't Mind," and then we'll be right back to talk some more with Matthew Klane.
I stole this line from my friend Chris, who stole it from David Burton, who stole it from Genesis. Their only words, the Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. Their only words, the Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. Their only words, the Lord won't mind. I swore on my diary, I swore on my shopping cart, my FBI dossier, I cross my heart. The Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. The Lord won't mind. I cross my heart. The Lord won't mind. The Lord, the Lord won't mind. I cross my heart. The Lord won't mind. I cross my partner. I cross my pets. I cross my favorite therapist. I cross my eyes and dot my T's. Oh, be it's what it is. The Lord won't mind what it is. Loneliness, what it is. Misery, despondency, and despair. Their only words, the Lord won't mind.
All right, that was "The Lord Won't Mind," Matthew Klane, and that one's off the album Too Little Too Late. And I guess, Matthew, let's talk about, we told the story of, how the poetry kind of melded into music, and now let's go into the creating of the album, because now you have an album out there. So.
Sure. Yeah, that song was written pretty early in my songwriting experience. I was traveling for poetry, and I was in Minneapolis doing a reading, and I met this poet's brother, and I was apologizing. I forget why. I have a lot of guilt that I carry. I just was, apologizing, and he just said, "The Lord won't mind," and I thought, "Oh no, is my poet friend's brother like a fundamentalist?" I was a little worried that like I had said something else, or that like I, just didn't know what I was walking into. And then I found out later that it was just a David Byrne quote from a Talking Head song, and I thought that was great. And it's just like a wonderful thing to say whenever you're feeling troubled or that you've done something. So I thought I would make a little song about it, and it came together pretty quick. That's the song that I have on the top of my Bandcamp. If I feel like someone wants to get a quick taste that's going to go down easy, they can have a little sip of The Lord Won't Mind.
And so, like the other songs in the album, like when did you like specifically set out to be like, all right, I'm going to record an album, I'm going to write these songs for the album, or did you already kind of have a few of the songs kicking around?
I had a whole year's worth that I had been kicking around, probably even more, probably 4 or 5 more. And I wanted to record some for demos, thinking I was ready to play out, and just wanted something to share. So I could email venues with, and I didn't even think there would be any other instruments on the record. I thought it was just going to be me. I had written them all on an unplugged electric guitar and recorded all the demos that way, and thought that's all we were going to do. And then I found Jimmy Woodall, Jimmy W, who produced the record, and Jimmy had the idea to mic up the unplugged electric, but then run the speakers into the other room, and then mic the speakers to give it like a little. And so we recorded 6 songs that way, including The Lord Won't Mind was in that first batch. And then I thought we were done, and he was like, "Okay, let's lay down some percussion." And then he said, "Okay, well, let's lay down some bass." And then
it's interesting that you didn't realize that the rest was coming. Like, that's gonna be a fucking trip to like be like, what now? Like,
almost immediately. Like, I mean, I didn't know what I was in for. I had never recorded music before. I didn't know if the songs were really good or not. I mean, I thought they were, and some people had given me some feedback that they weren't terrible. And I didn't but I still was, kind of open to the experience. And the songs are simple, and they're sort of like Jimmy says, they're sort of like blank canvases, because there's some rhythm, but it's minimal, and the guitar is so minimal, and the chord progressions are so simple. He had a resonator guitar in there, which I think plays on that on that song. I'd given him some prompts. Some like creative prompts that some of them had to do with some records that I was sort of interested in sounding like. And one of them was Vic Chestnut's first record. Do you know Vic? He's a folk singer from Athens, Georgia, from North Florida, who was like in and around the alternative scene in the 90s, but had a life a little before and had a life afterwards. And on his first record, it's just him on what sounds like an unplugged electric guitar, even though, it's probably not. And then I think it's called, I didn't know what it was called, but I think it's called a mellotron, or the syllables are so close to that. I'm probably off, but it sounds like a little organ or like an electric piano.
I mean, mellotron sounds like it could be an organ. You know what I mean? Like if I was in the organ naming business, I would.
Let's just say it. Let's just say it. And he brought it out for that, which was just like his piano patch or whatever, a patch on his piano, and he brought it out for that track, and it just sounds so warm and nice on it. And I think it shows up a couple times on the record, but that was the prompt for this song that got it going. And yeah, we did 6 songs in 3 days, and then I came back a month later and did 6 more songs, and that was the record. It happened real fast, and almost immediately the two of us were looking at each other like, whoa, there's something happening. Like this sounds great. I mean, I don't know. I think for me, it was more like seeing his excitement got me excited because I thought like, oh, this is happening. But also it was so beyond the way I was hearing the songs being able to come to life that I was sort of, giddy.
Right.
In the
to
studio.
be a whole part of that experience where you have someone, because like you were saying, you didn't have a past with producing music, and to have someone like Jimmy who like knows what they are doing, and they're just like, let's go this way, and to be able to be like, what, like with my stuff, like
For sure.
that's a cool thought.
And I sort of found him by accident. I mean, I'm meeting the music scene in the last year or two, but like I didn't know him previously. I was recommended by a friend of a friend and found my way to his inbox, and it was, sort of happenstance. Hey, buddy.
Calvin likes to occupy the space that others are in.
It's so great. I love it so much.
Everybody knows Calvin, the famous podcast dog.
Yeah.
For those that don't, he's here hanging out and pushing Matthew out of the way.
He looks so right on this couch. Like,
Yeah.
It's so perfect. So much righter than me, dude.
Yeah, he hangs out in here sometimes, like when nobody's home. Like he likes it. He likes this couch. He's kind of like, yeah, this is my couch for 6 days out of the week, and 1 day a week it's others.
Right on.
Yeah. So the album, you did it in basically 2 couple day sessions.
Yeah, last fall.
Wow, and you had all the songs worked out with no idea that they were going to be fleshed out in the way that they were, and additional instruments.
That was the order I put them in. Like I had an idea of like how they went together. That wasn't the order they were written in, but I picked the order in advance and we recorded them in that order. And it's just like the album just like, I mean, I think it's a little bit of beginner's luck, and if we tried to do it that simple again, I'm sure.
Well, because now the mystery's gone. You know what I mean? Now when you're writing songs, like, oh, there's going to be other stuff, but that's going to be an amazing thing. I'm telling you, once you start like thinking about the writing, you've just got your guitar, but you're like, well, we can add this here and that here and that here, like
for sure. And one of my goals for this year is to find a playing band, and I do have some things in the works. A friend who plays the bass 6 and started talking to a guitar player, and my friend James does like atmospheric electronic found sound and beats and stuff. And then I'm thinking also, I mean, I do it's not in that song that we just heard, The Lord Won't Mind, but it is in the name of the band. I do a lot of mouth trumpet on the record, and I'm thinking maybe just a regular trumpet player would be fun when we're playing with a full band, because the mouth trumpet wouldn't play as much, like
right.
it wouldn't sound as sad and lonely. You just wouldn't hear it probably.
Well, before we go, is there another song from the album that you want to throw on?
Yeah, let's play It's Gonna Get Worse.
All right, sweet. Well, let's play It's Gonna Get Worse off the album Too Little Too Late, and go check it out. It's available on all streaming platforms and all that. And then we'll be right back to wrap it up with Matthew Klane.
Oh, this rain ain't got no bow. Oh, this rock ain't got no bottom. How low can it get? You wanna bet it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse before it gets worse. It's gonna get worse before it gets worse yet. Before it gets worse, it's gonna get worse before it gets worse. It's gonna get worse. You wanna bet your itsy britches, whatever jackpot stuffed into your sock, whatever's pursed in the Federal Reserve won't be it gets worse. It's gonna get worse. You better be walking first aid kit. You better have practiced non-attachment. You better know Morse code. You better have read the road. You best to lay plans. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Before it gets worse. It's gonna get worse. Before it gets worse, yeah. Before it gets worse. It's gonna get worse. Before it gets worse. It's gonna get worse.
All right, that was It's Gonna Get Worse off the album Too Little, Too Late from Matthew Klane. And Matthew, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come up here and do this with me. It's always like really cool to get to meet new people in the scene. And before we go, like I do with all my guests, I want to give you a chance to say what I refer to as your gratitudes.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I've seen the Dazzle Den on the Instagram, and I've seen you on the Instagram, and all the work that you do in the area. And it's really cool to see it in person. It was cool to drive up and see you in the driveway, and like, oh yeah, that's that dude. That's that dude that I know. You've been a help for me personally, just to figure out, what's going on in the area, and so thanks Calvin here for keeping me company on the couch. I want to thank Jimmy for all of his work on this record. It's pretty much a co-made record, considering he plays almost all the instruments on it and had a lot to do with how it came alive. On that song you just heard, It's Gonna Get Worse, the voice there is Girl Blue. I was like, Jimmy, I think I thought it kind of had like a Sunny Side of Life vibe to it, except even though the chorus goes, it's gonna get worse before it gets worser. That it'd be playfully sardonic to have like a bluegrass where oh brother we're at our Sunny Side of Life vibe, and it's like, you think Ariel would want to like sing on the track with me? And then she was totally game for
That's
it.
awesome.
And even game for being like that mean spirited, like in terms of the vibe of the song. And so I feel exceptionally grateful for the talent that was brought in to help make that song and that record come alive. So yeah, thanks to them.
All right, so he is Matthew Klane. I am Andy Scullin. This is Unsigned 518, and I'll see you on the road. Unsigned 518 is produced and hosted by me, Andy Scullin. New episodes are available every week wherever you stream podcasts. If you would like to help support the show, please like and subscribe wherever you are listening, or you could buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/unsigned518. If you would like to advertise on the show, send me an email at unsigned518@gmail.com. And to be a guest on the show, reach out to me through Instagram at unsigned518. Take care of one another, and I'll see you next week.